Hello everyone, and welcome to the third or fourth, I guess now, and final assignment video. In this video, we will be doing the elevation oblique drawing that is required for the assignment. So, taking a quick look at the assignments again, we have completed so far the orthographic drawings, which are here. We've done the isometric, which is here. The plan oblique we just finished here. Now we have a little space left over, so we're going to have to be rather judicious with our drawing and kind of plan that out a little bit. But we're going to be doing the elevation oblique that's provided here. And so in that we can still use this information, but it's going to be a little bit more challenging because some of the information is not as intuitive as the previous plans. So in those drawings, we were able to use the plan information as being the primary source of information to build the drawing from. In this element, or in this assignment, we need to use a different set of criteria. We're going to be using the elevation elements. And so there's going to be a little bit more abstraction, a little bit more information that's not as simple to derive from. So we're going to walk through those pieces together. And one of the things you want to remember about elevation obliques is that they're not used as often. The computer does a pretty good job of generating them. I haven't seen them used relative to architectural practice and so on very often, but this does become, as many Paraline drawings are, an exercise in intellectualizing and cognitive exercise on what the drawing is doing as we change these three-dimensional views. So as I mentioned, the previous views relied on the orientation off a plan. In this particular drawing, we are relying on the elevation as being the core element that we want to refer to. Now, as we do that, one of the things that happens is that we get even greater distortion and greater optical illusions that occur as a result of that. And so it becomes a little bit more fussy. And so we're going to be using primarily, we're going to be referring back to the plan, but we're going to be using the elevation elements primarily as our guide. And because it's an elevation preferred or relevant drawing, we're going to see a much more, I'll say, flat presentation of the information. And so we're not going to have the same angle elements that we do. Having said that, generally speaking, so that the drawings don't get too distorted, they tend to use a 30-degree projection off horizontal. And so we're going to see how that works here in a bit as we go through the demonstration. So have this triangle available. It is much more useful than the 45-degree triangle for the assignment. As such, I will be using my adjustable triangle with the 30-degree setting already provided in it. Now, to start this drawing, it's important to understand that our goal is to emphasize the elevation characteristics of the object or being drawn. So as a result, you have to think about what are the important elements that you want to see. Depending upon the complexity of the drawing, you really want to make sure that certain features are easy to recognize and available for the drawing to be done correctly. So as a result, we're going to see the drawing grow not only from the elevation, but there's going to be a change in elevation occurring during the process. So having said that, let's jump right in. So again, the plan view is important. And the plan view will have an elevation orientation that has, I'll call the front of the drawing as being the primary element. And so its orientation is going to be like this, but we're going to be projecting back. So going to get a little interesting. So I'm going to set this right here as a guide, and then we can move along from there. Now, to do this, what we want to do is we want to make sure that we've identified a horizontal line and that we're actually going to be projecting from that horizontal line back and then forward from that. So that means that this set of lines right here, not this one, but this set of lines right here will be critical in getting the correct orientation and setup for this drawing. So I'm coming up about an inch or so from the bottom of the drawing, and I'm providing myself with a horizontal line there as a reference point. So as we do this, we're going to orient ourselves. We're going to draw this elevation. We're going to replicate it, but be light with it, okay? Because not every line is going to stay. Some lines are going to have to be erased and projected in a different way soon after. This elevation right here is something we can replicate right off the bat, but draw it light. Again, we're going to be erasing some of these lines. Okay, so having done that, I'm going to come over here, knowing that my projection is going to go in this direction. I'm going to start my elevation right here, and I'm going to start with the idea that I'm 8 across. I'm 2, 4, and 2. So I'm going to redraw this with an orientation 2 feet on the left side, 4 feet in the center, and 2 feet for a total of 8 units, not feet, sorry, units across. So using those units, 2, 4, 2 is going to give me the orientation to start. And how high up do we go? Well, we're going to have the 3-foot walls in here, and those are important, so you can mark those. But we're going to extend up the full amount, which is 6 high. Remember, we're going to be erasing some of these lines. So I'm going to start. I'm going to mark the 3, and I'm going to take it up to 6. Okay. Now, that's the basic box. Keep it light because we're going to erase some of these lines. This is going to give us some orientation on what this elevation oblique is going to do. Then I'm going to come across here and give myself the 3-foot horizontal line. And we're going to go ahead and change our triangle just for a moment. We're going to use the 45 to pick up that very front gable piece. Again, keeping it light because we know the things are going to project back and forward and project forward from them. Okay, so that's our basic drawing. It is just a replication of this drawing. That's all. Very simple. Now, in order to draw this, we're going to use this line, which is this line here, not the front, this line right here, as being our a point of reference. We're going to project back from here, and we're going to project forward from there. So to do that, we're going to start with projecting back. Now, to do that, we need to use the 30-60, and so we're going to need to go back and make sure that we're using the correct triangle here, and it's going to get a little funny, so you're just going to have to follow along with me here. These are a little bit challenging. Okay, so from this back corner, which is this point, I'm going to start now. That's the one we really don't see. It's kind of hiding right here, but that's the orientation we're going to start with. So on a 30, we're going to extend back 6 feet. So that's the dimension we're going to expect, but on the back side. Because our orientation now is to have the front of this turned, I want to say counterclockwise, or actually it would be turned clockwise in the plan orientation, so that we can see the front, because it's important to see those main features that are provided in the drawing. So from that corner right there, we're going to go back 6 feet, or 6 units. So we move back 6. That takes us to here. Now, as we have been doing all along, all verticals will remain vertical. but we're not there at the vertical yet. So now we have to chase around the plan just like we did before. We're going to get our plan set up, then we're going to project vertically. So from this corner here, which is, we've gone from this corner to this corner. Now we're going to come across the back, and that's horizontal. It's the same as the front. So we're going to come back from that back corner and go how far? We're going to go 8 because that's 8 units in distance. We're going to mark it. Using our 30 again, we're going to come forward, and that's going to take us to this point. Now, all we've done is we've gone from here to the back corner, back here, and back to the front. So all this will line up, and sure enough, there it lines up. That box right there, that trapezoid, for lack of a better term, is this box right here in this orientation. So again, starting at this corner, 6, 8, 6. 6 to this corner, 8 to this corner, 6 to this corner. Hopefully that you can keep up with that. Now, we've got this part. Now we have to do this part and bring it forward. So to bring that forward, we'll start in the same proximate area. We're going to start in this corner right here, and we're going to project forward at 30 degrees. Then we're going to get to this corner, then across this corner, and then back to this corner, and that's going to complete that form. So we start here, come at this back corner, we're going to project out 2 units. 2 units, and they go there. We're going to come across this unit, 4. Then we're going to come back to the back wall. So we've come out 2, across 4. Now we're going to come back 2 again. And using the same 30 degrees, but it's going back kind of in a funny way, we're going to come back to our starting point, and sure enough, this corner is that corner, this corner is the front corner, this corner is the other front corner, and then back to the main mass back here, right there. So everything's on a 30, it's all going that way. Everything is moving in that direction, okay? Okay, so we have the plan. We can see it. I'm going to suggest that just take a minute now and erase some of these light lines that you had in there because they will cause confusion later. Okay, so we have our plan. These corner verticals will stay there. They'll be fine. We can actually start with them in just a minute. But you can see our plan has kind of a slant, kind of an angle orientation that's up and to the right. That's what it is. It's an elevation oblique, and that's how we're going to proceed. All right, so based on that, we have the front coming forward and the back going back. We're going to start now with the back, and we're going to go all the way around this thing and give us the 3-foot verticals all the way around. Remember, verticals in these drawings do not change. They always remain vertical. So we have the first one set here at 3. We're going to come around to each corner and add in our 3-foot mark for each of the corners. That one's the same as before. This one is actually already correct also. So is that one. But we do have to bring the one in the front right here. Get that lined up. And that goes there. And this front piece right here, he goes right here. Right there. Okay. So I'm going to walk around the plan, and you're going to see here's my first 3-foot. Here's my next 3-foot. I'm going to go ahead and draw them in. Here's my back 3 foot. Remember, don't blast these in. You're going to have to erase them later. Okay, 3 units, 3 units, 3 units, back to here, 3 units, over to here, 3 units. This element overlays the other one, 3 units there. I've offset just a hair so you can see it. And then across the front, and then back to the back corner, and we are done. We've got 1, 2, well, I'm not going to count them. You can see them. They're at each corner. Okay, so at every same corner that we've been doing all the way along these demonstrations, vertical up 3. Okay, so we started with the plan, then we found the corners, projected up 3. Now we're going to connect the tops together to create the volume and then onto the roof. So using the 30-degree triangle, we're just, and I would still kind of hold off. You can go horizontal in these elevations. They will work just fine. Let's get ourselves oriented here and here and here and light. Okay, so I know some of these lines are going to be with me in the final, so I'm adding a little bit more meat to them just so that you can see them better on the illustration I'm doing. All right, now, see how flat this was? This was very vertical as a drawing. This one's going to be kind of flat. And there's some things that will occur here that are going to look greatly distorted, but that's, again, that part of this drawing. Okay, so as we did before, we found the midpoint of the wall. We projected it up to get to the ridge line. We're going to do the same thing again. There's a couple little adjustments, but basically the rules that we did in the first drawing, the second drawing, are going to be applicable in the third drawing. So let's just do that. So now we're going to find the 3 foot there. We're going to come back here on the light line that was in the back side. We're going to put a 3 foot line right there. And we're going to project up and project up. And how far up? We're going to use the same as provided here, 6 units up. None of these measurements really have changed. Just their orientation seems to have become a little different. Again, I'm using the horizontal to connect. This 3 foot is good. 6 foot, 6 units. These 6 units are going to be the same as these 6 units to there. So I'm not going to draw that in too heavy at this point. Now we're going to go ahead and connect the corners again at the roof line so that we can see the form of the roof. And again, these won't be set on any particular angle except to say we're connecting points in the drawing that provide us with that orientation. Now this one I'm going to draw very light because that's on the back side. We don't see that. So okay. Draw that again there. Okay. So there's our basic form. I can erase some of this stuff that's going to disappear anyway. So I don't have as much line confusion as can occur. Okay, now we get to do the front piece. We've done the side or the large back element. Now we're going to do the front. It's going to still be, this one's going to be much different, but especially when it comes to creating that valley. And the best way to describe it is there's a couple of approaches you can take, and let's kind of build it as we go. So as we did before, as we did with the isometric and the plan oblique, we're going to go to the middle, which is 4. We're going to go 2 over, and we're going to project upward, and we're going to go up 5. So we get our scale. We're going to go 5 units up. And we mark it. Now, again, This should be on a 45, similar to what we looked at before. Okay, so this form right here is there. You can see it. Okay, that needs to be retained because this is an elevation and this is the elevation priority we're providing on this elevation oblique. All right, so now that we have those, now where it gets a little bit interesting here is that horizontal is going to project back again at that 30-degree angle that we talked about on all the horizontals here. So this is a horizontal. This now becomes a horizontal, and it goes back. How far? It's going to be kind of a question mark, and we're going to have to work through that together. But what I want you to see is that we're missing one line to complete this whole drawing, and that is this element here. And if we've done this correctly, then this line won't be much longer than that. Although there is some distortion, it'll just look longer. So if we come over here and we look at our line that we're provided here, that is 4 units long. So if I come over here, I can measure back along that ridge point 4. It's not a true vertical. It's close, but it's not exactly a vertical. And that is going to give me that ridge line. And I'm going to clean up this drawing because, like I said, there's lots of lines and it's confusing enough, and I want to make sure that you can see the completed work. Okay, so all right, we're getting very close to the completed drawing here. Now, I try to get rid of these lines here because they're not part of the example. We don't want to see those if we don't have them. And if you look, I've tried pretty well here to keep them out and tried to take them out. I don't want to see those on the completed work because they're not really there. They're just a reference point. We want the hard edges. You don't see a line coming across this, but you do see all the edges and corners. So that's going to be important to kind of keep in mind as you're working on this. So go ahead and get this, and that's fine, that's fine, they're all good. We'll get this line right here. Okay, almost done. Okay, so that is the completed elevation oblique. The length of this was found by actually just taking the dimension right off the side elevation because that's the distance left. We could go through a lot of different ways of proving that, but for expediency purposes, I think that's the easiest way to solve that element of this drawing. So as before, you're going to need to complete the drawing and then rearrange this on a final drawing in such a way that it follows similar to this. I'm going to give you a little bit of latitude in terms of where things are. Just watch your borders. We're again working with 11 by 17. We're not working with 8.5 by 11. Do not give me two 8.5 by 11 sheets. That would be incorrect. It is one sheet. You see it here. It's a bigger sheet. So please provide that. Please provide a label for each of the drawings. This category we're calling pictorial is another name for the paraline projections. Either one's fine with me. I don't care. But just understand there's two types of drawings we're doing here. We got the orthographics and we got the paralines. Each one is listed, each one's labeled, and so be observant of those labels. I'm giving you, like I said, some latitude on the exact spacing. It just needs to look good. Don't forget you have a set of a set of information along the title block provided here, and make sure that you provide that information to complete this portion of the drawing. So with that, I'm going to close this last final piece of the assignment video demonstration for this week and say I very much look forward to seeing your completed work and seeing you in the next class meeting for the lecture. Our next assignment will be interesting and will be a little less theoretical. We're going to start drilling right into the floor plan requirements for drawings, and so we'll see that in coming week. So I bid you all have a successful effort with this, and again, I look forward to seeing you in class, in the class meeting, and seeing your work. Thank you again, and so long for now. Thank you.